Hello everyone and welcome. It's Coffee with Ceri.
Hi guys, coffee time again. Okay, if you're new to this playlist or you're new to my Coffee with Ceri, just beware, this is just me airing my layman's view on a topic that I'll choose. My opinions are usually based upon social media or television or movies or magazines or just hearsay on the street. So I try not to be argumentative, and I'm certainly not here to offend. So if this doesn't work for you, please just stop the video, and I've got plenty of other videos for you to watch. So today's topic is our fear of failure. Now, I'm talking from the viewpoint of being a creative person in this. Okay, this is about artistic endeavors, creative endeavors. Yes, I really do suffer from this. I will get myself to the point where my inner voices, or whatever you want to call them, will actually say that I'm never going to make this look good. I'm never going to make it the best it can be. It's going to be an utter disaster. I can't do this, blah, 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 blah. And I never do anything. It's like a very good example is when you buy a new art pad, a new journal, a new exercise book, a new diary, a new address book. How many of us don't want to write in it? How many of us don't want to draw a picture? How many of us don't want to put a splodge of ink or a splodge of paint on it? Because we fear that what we're going to do will ruin the perfection of the thing we're working on. That's my problem. That's a problem a lot of us have. And I have personally struggled with this a lot. I have taken on board a lot of advice from other people. It's like one of the things I've really struggled with is I'm a journaler. Now, I'm not a diarist. I don't write in a journal every single day. I have a journal. Actually, if you look over there, there's a box of journals. That's my journals. So what I do is if something happens to me, or I go to an event, or I'm part of something, or if someone sends me a nice letter, or I have a thank you card, or a gift comes through, or I've struggled with something, or I've discovered something, or something that I need to acknowledge by recording it. And that sounds a bit technical, but I think you know where I'm going with this. Then that goes into my journal. I don't journal in date order. I don't journal in numerical order. It's like if I'm art journaling, or I'm doing work in my glue book, or I'm creating in some way, I will very often just open the book at whatever page presents itself to me, and I work there. So I have found by using that method, by not always working on page one, I can start a book, I can start a journal, I can start an art pad, I can start creating something. Someone once told me the best way to start an art journal is turn to page one, get a pen, a pencil, or whatever, and just scribble on it. And then turn the page and start working. Because just by doing that, you've started. It may not be pretty, it may not be, it's there. Now, the thing is, once you've done your second page, maybe you can go back to your first page. Maybe you paint over the top of it. Maybe you collage over the top of it. Maybe you stick a picture over the top of it. But you've actually, I'm going to choose the wrong word here, you've marked or soiled, or you've corrupted the perfection that you perceived that book or journal or piece of art was going to be. It's like when I art journal, a lot of the time I will go into my art journal and my anxieties will say, why are you bothering to do this? Why are you doing this? You know it's not going to be right. You know it's going to be ugly. You know you can't use those colour combinations. And sometimes I will actually just pick up a white pen, like I've got white markers, and I will write some of those words on the page, like failure, fear, bad colour choices. I will write those words on the page, and then when I create on top of that. So what I've done is I've actually acknowledged those fears, I put them on the page and then I created over the top of it. Sometimes those words or part of them will show through the finished project, which actually then gives them a positive twist because they've added some visual texture to a created piece of art that I can then look at and go, you know what? I've made that. And usually when I get to the end of the journey, I'm a lot happier, and all of those fears and negative thoughts that I've had have been belayed along the way. They've just been shuffled to the side of the street, and you know what? Over it, they're done. I'm let them go until, of course, I start a new one. Then I'm like, it's going to be a failure. These are bad colour combinations. But you know what? Whatever we need to do, we need to put the stake in the ground. We need to make the first step, or we will never go on any pathway or any journey whatsoever. I used to be an entertainer. I was a professional dancer and performer for many, many years. And in doing that journey, I actually had to take on many different guises as a performer, or whether it was dancing or whether it was as an actor, because I acted for a while as well. And being able to create the persona I needed on stage, I had to adjust the person I am inside, or at least the skin I'm living in to do it. For an example, okay, I once did a show that was, the theme of the show was under the ocean, and it was very much like a Cirque du Soleil show. We all had to become imaginary creatures, done a lot by the costuming and the lighting and the sets and everything, but we had to change our features as well with makeup. And I must admit, the first time I sat down in front of the makeup mirror with this whole palette full of face painting type makeups and looked at my face, I was like, how do I do this? And we were given inspirational photographs and pictures and sketches that had been done by makeup artists to help guide us through this. But I can tell you, the first few attempts, I was pretty but ugly. It was not pretty. I was like, it took a long time, and I was certainly not on my own in this, until I was able to gain enough confidence to go, right, white face on, this bit, that needs it, and then walk out of there, to be able to walk in front of an audience or perform in front of an audience of maybe 1,000 plus as his character. And as I actually created this makeup to go with the complementary costume, that process helped me develop into that person. It's like there was a period in my life where I ended up doing cabaret work as a female impersonator. Like I became a drag queen for the shows, not on a regular basis, but I had to become a beautiful woman. And this does not start out as a beautiful woman. I had to learn to understand my face and my body, to use makeup to change the shape and style, and to mentally accept what I was becoming for the role I was doing. Now you may go, what the heck has this got to do with fear of failure? If I'm about to walk out in front of an audience of 1,000 plus people, I'm already anxious that I'm going to do the dance routine wrong, or I'm going to sing the wrong lyric, or I'm going to forget the words, or I'm going to be in the wrong place, or I'm going to drop my partner, or the lights aren't going to fail. I've already got that on top. The last thing I want to think about is, are they going to go, what the hell is he wearing? It all equates down to, you need to start somewhere. Mona Lisa wasn't painted in, and the guy just went, oh, I'm just going to paint a woman. I'm sure he went through all the different stages and tweaked and played around with shape and colour. There must have been a few test paintings along the way. As with any artist, there's preparatory sketches done. There's then paintings done that all lead up to the final painting. It's like if you're in animation, you start with an idea, you then sketch out the characters, then you do storyboards, and then those storyboards are equated into actual drawings or computer generated landscapes. And it's all a process. And when it comes down to art, it's just a process. You need to start it though, because if you don't put your foot on the pathway, you're going to go nowhere. So a very close friend of mine helped me over my fear of my handwriting. I have dire handwriting. I mean, let's just see. I've got my notebook in front of me here because this is where I put all of my ideas for working. Okay, here you go. Right. So this is my ideas book. Can you see it? That's my handwriting. Not the most legible, but it's legible to me. And this is where I keep all my ideas. I don't have the best memory. I throw everything in here. Each of these books in this traveler's notebook represents an aspect of my life creatively, whether it's Coffee with Ceri, whether it's YouTubes, whether it's cake decoration design, whether it's a magazine project. I put it down because my imagination is so busy sometimes that I will have one idea which kicks another idea out. So I throw it down. I know that's a failing of mine to keep all of it in my memory. So by my bed, there's a notepad. So if I wake up at 2 in the morning with an idea, I scribble it down. I know it's not forgotten. Then I go back to sleep. If I'm on a train or a boat, a plane, wherever I am, I've got this with me wherever I am, and I'll just make a note. And as long as there's 1 or 2 words or a rough description or even a really bad sketch, I know I've maintained it. But my handwriting for me is embarrassing. I've always had bad handwriting, which is why since even when I was in school, I had a portable typewriter. And I used to type my homework up because I knew that if I typed it up, the tutor could read it and therefore I get better marks. If I handwrote it, the tutor usually couldn't read it and I got bad marks. And I progressed from typewriter to laptop to iPad to whatever technology was there. So anyway, back to what I was saying about. And as a journaler, when I started my first journal, I was putting the elements in with a post-it note next to them going what the date was and roughly what it was, because I thought, right, one day I'll go in and I'll go away for the weekend maybe and I'll write down everything I want in these and be done. And I put it off and I put it off and I put it off. And my friend said to me, why are you not writing in your journal? I know you love it. I know you're passionate about it. I can see the journal's getting fatter and fatter and fatter with the stuff you're putting in. But why aren't you writing? And I said, it's because I don't like my handwriting. I'm scared I'm going to spoil the beautiful thing that I perceive my journal to be becoming. It's a repository or depository. Repository? Whatever, it's a place I put stuff anyway, where my memories are being kept and I don't want to sully or soil them with my bad handwriting. And she said to me, actually, the handwriting will make it more beautiful because your handwriting is you. So one day I'm going to shuttle off this mortal coil. We know that. Everyone's going to pass away eventually. And when someone picks up that journal, whoever it gets bequeathed to or whoever ends up owning it, my handwriting is part of me. And it's a beautiful part of me because it's my idiosyncrasy. It's my little style thing. It's the way I do it. So my instinct was right, I'll type up everything, I'll print it out, and then I'll stick those into my journal. That's very mechanical and clinical. It's not me. So now when I write in a journal, I try to take my time. I don't write quickly because that's part of my reason my handwriting's so bad is I write at speed. I zip through all of these things. So I write a bit slower. My handwriting's a little bit neater. But to be honest with you, it's mine. And if I go back and read a section of a journal, I can read it. I'm not writing it for you to read it. I'm writing it for me to read it. If it gets handed to someone in the future, you know what? Either you read it or you don't read it. It's not for you. It's for me. It's me putting my emotions and memories down. And my fear of not putting ink on the page was my fear of failure. I've now gone past that because I've accepted the fact that, yes, I don't like my handwriting. To this very day, I don't like my handwriting, but it is part of me and it's therefore part of my journal. And that's okay with me. Art journaling, creativity, whatever it is, just make a mark. Just spill some ink on the page. Slap a paintbrush on it. Worst case scenario, you paint over it, you collage over the top of it, you do something else, but don't let the fear of making a mark hold you up. You're an artist. We're all creative. The only way we can go on the journey is by getting on the pathway. Yeah, you may fail, but you know what? Failure isn't always a bad thing. Failure is a string of lessons you've learned along the way that hopefully you won't repeat. Every time you perceive that you've failed, you've actually learned something. And every time you learn something, there's less chance you're going to fail in the future. You cannot create a masterpiece every single time. If you guys saw the amount of stuff that goes into my trash can, because I'm like, there is no way in heck anyone's going to ever see that. But you know what? That's my personal choice. It's my art, my way. I try to share as much as I can. But sometimes I'm not comfortable with bearing my soul when I look at it and go, okay, I've learnt things along the way. People will judge me by the end result. They won't know the journey I'm on. Therefore, if you're going to judge the end result, then you're just going to judge me by that. Then I'm not going to show you that. In a YouTube video, however, you see the process. I speak quite verbally about the process I'm going through. And when I reach the ending, if I've reached the ending, I've gone, guys, I'm sorry, that just didn't work out. I will probably still publish that YouTube because there's a good chance you will watch the whole journey and go, you know what, he's right, that stage worked, that stage worked, that stage didn't. And the end result may not be the best in the world, but then you may have learned something along with me on the journey I went. So anyway, enough of me lecturing because I'm sounding like I'm lecturing now and I've got all the way up to almost 17 minutes. And that's not my intent. I like to keep these around 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So don't let the fear of failure stop you. Okay? Have a go. What's the worst you're going to do? You're going to make a mess. Maybe you lose a bit of dignity along the way, but you know what? It's up to you. Please just start the artistic journey. Just have a go. Make a mark. Make a move and work on that pathway because the journey is fabulous. And if you love what you do, you're going to have great fun. Have a good one, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye now.